Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, Happy Valentine's Day. What is it, Easter now? Anyways, long time no see. Hello everyone, Pokenixie here and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, make yourself at home and hop in on a ride to create a Polomon-based Lecha region. I'm so sorry for all the hiatus. Recently I focused more on uni and getting good grades, as well as a new band and music making, which made me unable to make any videos for this channel. Overall, unfortunately, this will be the case also for the future videos, because my second semester just started and I have way more subjects to study. Nevertheless, I prepared something special for you today. I'll be introducing Wawel, whom I mentioned in one of my previous videos, you should check it out by the way, but also the first dragon type of the Lecha region. However, there's an interesting twist that I haven't seen in Pokemon before, but about that later in the video. Initially, I wanted to make this for a contest that was ran by Boreal Mind, and the topic of it was duality. If you're interested in more Fakemon videos, their channel is just for you. They're in the making of a German-based region, and their designs are very unique, so let's support our German neighbor out there, shall we? Link to their channel is in the description below. So, let's not beat around the bush and let's get to it already. Before we do that though, I need to talk about one of my past designs and update you on it. I didn't like it too much and I even expressed it in a video when I made it, so I asked you for some advice on how I could improve it. I took a lot of your suggestions to consideration and combined them in the new design, which feels so much better and more cohesive now. I connected the crown on its head to its beak to make it look like a crest with jewels in it, instead of a plain crown slapped on top of its head. Then I made the feathers on its chest connect in a way better way to the coat of arms, which makes it flow a lot more. I also improved how it connects to the bottom of its body by adding some golden feathers, matching the fancy tail it has. As a last minute addition, I made the coat of arms look more like plated armor, which helped divide all the empty space in the middle. And so, this is the new Bertriot. I have to say, I feel like I've made huge improvements to it, and I hope you like it as much as I do now. Let me know in the comments if I managed to pull it off better than the previous design. But now, let's move on to our today's Fakemon. This Pokemon, and all the Pokemon actually in this video, are based on a legend from Krakow this time. According to this legend, there was a dragon who terrorized the castle of King Krak by eating their livestock or maidens, depending on the version of the legend. Many knights had tried to defeat the monster, but nobody was able to. The dragon was just too strong. But wait, what does it have to do with the sheep that you probably see in the speed paint? Well, let me tell you. One day, a shoemaker named Scuba had a clever idea of stuffing a fake sheep with sulfur, which he had later put right before the dragon's cavern. The dragon then ate the sheep and suddenly started to burn from the inside. To quench the fire, it ran to the Vistula River and drank so much water it literally exploded! Yikes, ain't that a legend? Anyways, in this way, the shoemaker Scuba became the hero of the village and was rewarded plentifully by the king. Ain't that a story? Now, let's talk about the design. I wanted this sheep to look both handmade and alive at the same time. I made the stitches tear in some parts of its body to reveal the stuffing inside, which is entirely sulfur. I kind of made it look like patchy wool, almost like the sheep was poorly sheared or something. I figured giving it regular eyes wouldn't fit the design that much, so I went for buttons. I have to say it's quite cute this way. So, let me present to you Wawel, the stuffed Pokemon. This peculiar herd Pokemon is in the constant need of being watched because of its silly and curious personality. In the wild, the Wawel herds are often protected by their evolved form Explod because it's stronger and more independent. People often farm Wawels for their sulfur, since it leaks out of their bodies from various places and seems to be constantly producing. If the sulfur isn't continuously extracted, a Wawel can easily overheat and feel uncomfortable at all times. So here it is. It's a pretty simple design, I know, but it's just the first evolution, mind you. Just you wait until you see what it evolves into. For its evolved form, I went for more of a grimdark aesthetic, because it's a ram that literally exploded in a dragon's stomach. So, if a Wawel was to evolve by exploding inside a dragon, I don't think it would have survived itself. That's why it evolves into a fire ghost type, because of the way that Prevo died. Don't know if it's clever or not, but it's not for me to decide. You're my critics after all, so I can't wait to see what you think down in the comments. In this design, I went for a skull face with ram horns, because I just thought it would be really cool, especially from an undead Pokemon. Just like in the case of Wulfer, some parts of this Fakemon's body are split to expose the insides. In this case, it's a fiery explosion, or ignition of the sulfur that Wulfer produced inside. On top of its head, and the tip of its tail, there are little clouds of smoke to allude to little tufts of wool that manage to stay on its body. Of course, at this stage it's all grown up and way stronger than before. Here is Explod, the reborn Pokemon. Wulfer only evolves into Explod when it happens to get devoured by Puffdrake in a battle. In contact with Puffdrake's stomach acid, Wulfer simultaneously explodes, which makes it evolve. The drastic evolution makes it severely stronger and more impulsive. Explod is a very territorial Pokemon and likes to shower in fame. It seems to always brag about its survival story of being eaten alive to all the Wulfers in its herd, which makes it more respected as a herd leader. I have to say it! This might be my favorite Fakemon I've made so far. From the design to the name to everything about it. You may not know this about me yet, but I'm very much into dark stuff, gore, and metal music. So I basically combined everything I adore in this particular design. I hope it's not too dark though. Also, speaking of the name, it was supposed to be a combination of Explode and Cloud, because she to me look like little clouds. But it can also be interpreted as a loud explosion, which is pretty awesome if you ask me. I love applying multiple meanings to some word combinations. Anyways, time for our dragon type to represent the Wawel dragon from our Krakowian legend. This particular Fakemon is based on a real-life statue that resides near a castle on Wawel, which is a mount in Krakow. If you're lucky, you can even witness the statue breathe actual fire, which is quite amazing if you ask me. It's a place where many tourists like to visit, and if you are to ever visit Poland, it's one of the best places to go to. Anyways, I have to say that I struggled a little bit with the arms, because it literally has 4 of them, but I still somehow managed to place them in a way that's hopefully nice and readable. To be honest though, I'm not the first one to base a Polish Fakemon on this statue. The one before me was a person I previously mentioned on the channel. His name is Lapko, the creator of Polomon, and his Wawel dragon Fakemon is called Wawel. I still tried my best to make my Fakemon unique to the Lecha region, but because we both based the dragon on the same reference, there are obvious connections between the two. That's why I'm giving credit where it's due, and that's also why I decided to give an original twist to my dragon. That will come right after I introduce you to Puffdrake, the inflatable Pokemon. Puffdrake seems to be always hungry and loves to terrorize local villages. It likes to hunt at night and surprise its prey when they are asleep. Prefers to swallow its prey whole because its stomach is very stretchy and capable of digesting basically anything that happens to be unfortunate enough to end up there. There's only one thing Puffdrake fears: Wulfer. When in contact with this Pokemon, it suddenly becomes significantly weaker, which still boggles everyone's mind. Alright, here's a comparison of the two designs, one by me and one by Lapko. He made Wawel a steel dragon type, and in his design, he chose to make it more fiery and reduce the amount of arms, probably to make it less cluttered. I personally decided against that and stayed more true to the statue, as well as to make it somehow stand out from Lapko's design. In the case of Puffdrake, it's a pure dragon type. I also went for a shorter tail and added a tip to it, but what makes Puffdrake unique is its second form. In contact with Wulfer, Puffdrake becomes way more pathetic and chubby. If I was to present stats of my Fakemon, its attack and defense would probably drop drastically to make Wulfer the most probable winner of the fight. What also makes it an easier target for Wulfer is the typing. In this form, it becomes a pure grass type, which obviously makes it weak to fire. Although, if a Puffdrake still somehow won against Wulfer, then it would evolve into Explod, or at least that's the whole idea. Honestly, I've never seen such concept to be presented in Pokemon before, but if you've seen something similar to this in one of the newer generations, then let me know. To be candid with you, I'm mostly educated in the earlier generations and don't know much about the more recent Pokemon. Well, I have some catching up to do. Although, fortunately, the effect is reversible with simply water. I want this whole concept to be as closely connected to the legend as possible, but still have some differences. All because I didn't want Puff Drake to be possibly one of the weakest contenders out there, you know? I imagine if Puff Drake carried a water bottle around, it could use it during a fight with Wolfer to prevent the weird effect it has on it. What do you think about that? Well, time to read this form's description. Puff Drake, the inflatable Pokemon, weakened form. After getting in contact with a Wolfer, Puff Drake experiences a strange reaction that drastically changes its appearance and type, as well as it makes it a lot weaker from its original form. People often keep Wolfer for that reason, to protect their villagers from Puff Drake attacks. Scientists suspect this must be some sort of an allergic reaction to sulfur, but it hasn't been confirmed as of yet. This effect can be reversed by consuming some water. And so, that would be it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed that one, and I can't wait to see what you think about those new fellas. Next up, I want to make some more Fakemon based on Polish phrases, because it seems like you really enjoyed it last time, so stay tuned for part 2. I'm also thinking of making some bug-type Pokemon for this region, but I need some ideas and suggestions. I have one bug-type in mind, but I wanted at least one more that would have 2 evolutions, because the one I made up has only 1. Share your ideas in the comments. Anyways, like and subscribe and join me on the journey. Here are my socials, and goodbye.